You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to the Dark Nights Paranormal Show with your hosts Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley, right here on Parasearch UK Radio.
Good evening, it's Friday night. I am Kerry Greenaway. You're listening to the Dark Night Show and I'm really blessed tonight. I'm joined by two lovely people. Not Mark though, my usual co-host is actually not able to join me tonight. So I've got the lovely Kerry Ann with me tonight. Good evening, Kerry.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And we've got a fantastic guest with us tonight, haven't we, Kerry? His name is Chris Howley.
Yes, welcome Chris.
Thank you. Good evening.
I don't know if you know Chris out there, but he has got a brand new show on Sky called Ghost Chasers, and we're going to talk to him about that very, very shortly. But first, Chris, please tell me all about yourself. Where are you? Where are you from? What do you do? That sort of thing.
Right. Well, I'm from Gloucester, and all my jobs, and they don't sound like real jobs because they're all my hobbies, so I'm quite lucky. I'm a musician. I'm a freelance trumpet player, but I'm also a paranormal investigator. And I work down at Woodchester Mansion, looking after all the ghost hunting groups that come and investigate the building. So it's quite an easy life, really.
That sounds like an absolute dream job to me.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's all your hobbies that you do for work. It doesn't get any better than that, really.
It certainly doesn't. So tell me a little bit about the Woodchester Mansion. Is it very haunted?
Yes. Do you know what? I started... I didn't really believe in ghosts back in 2002 when Most Haunted hit the screens. I've always been fascinated by the paranormal, right from an early age, because of a ghost story that my dad always used to say about my granddad coming back a week after his death and waking me and my brother up. I mean, I was 3 and my brother was a baby. He said we both woke up crying at the same time. He went into the room. It was icy cold, pitch black, and the hairs went up on his neck. He put it down to my granddad coming back to say farewell for the last time. So that story always intrigued me. And in 2002, when Most Haunted hit the screens, my interest was reignited. And I decided to put together a paranormal team in Gloucestershire. And Woodchester Mansion was our first location. So that was how I was introduced to the building. It was reputedly one of the most haunted locations in the country. So we started investigating down there. But that was way back in 2002.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, most of us started by watching, a lot of people started by watching Most Haunted. It definitely ignited a lot of people's interests and brought everybody's attention to the fact that you can actually go out there and actually do that for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the first time we all got together, we actually went on a commercial ghost hunt. That was our first outing as a group. That was with Jason Carl, who was the parapsychologist for Most Haunted at the time. He was running an events company. So we went off down to Bewley Abbey, and that was it then. We said, right, guys, let's do this for ourselves. It's quite an interesting night. I still wasn't a believer in the paranormal at the time, but it was still fascinating going out to all these locations just for the historical side to start with. But I must admit, I did have some strange experiences in those early days that started me off. Hang on a minute, there might be something in this.
A little bit something more to it, because you've trained as a medium as well, haven't you? If I read that right.
I did, yeah. It was well, basically, like I said, I wasn't a believer. I started getting these experiences, and as time went on, I wasn't cynical. I was skeptical. So, a cynic will just not believe anything at all. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Although I didn't really believe in it. I still have that interest. Well, what are we experiencing? And it was the same with mediumship. Everybody, there are two camps: there are those who believe it and those who say no, it's a load of rubbish. They're cold reading. So I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to take that. I'm actually going to enroll and get involved with some mediums. And I was very lucky. There was a college course that came up at Cirencester College, and it was 3 months long. So I did this college course, and the medium who took the course invited me to go and sit in circle, and that lasted a year. I'm not a medium, but yes, I did train as one. And
Okay.
I had some very interesting experiences during that year that, again, I can't explain. Finding missing objects just by sitting in a room and going into meditation and saying, okay, then spirit, tell me where this lost ring is. My ex-wife, she'd lost a ring. It had been missing for 6 months, and I had an image come into my head of a birthday card opening with a ring falling out. So I went down and said, where'd you keep the old birthday cards, all the Christmas cards that you don't throw away? She said, oh, they're up in the wardrobe in a carrier bag. So I went up there, got the bag out, and lo and behold, this ring fell out of a birthday card. So how do you explain that?
I know, it's those sort of things, because Kerry Ann has trained and sat in circle as well, haven't you, Kerry Ann?
I have, yes, I have. I agree with Chris. With mediumship, it's quite difficult because it is so subjective. It's something that can't be measured, or you can't observe it in a way that it's shared experience as such. But I agree. I really enjoy working with mediumship, and I apply that now to investigation. So, it's great to talk to you, Chris. I would really love to know, do you apply your mediumship, what you've acquired over the years of your training and such? Have you applied that to investigations, and how do you apply that?
Do you know what? I don't. I've gone down the completely other side, the more scientific. I'm a gadget freak. I particularly audio with the electronic voice phenomena. That's my big interest. So I try not to use it, but sometimes you can't help it. You walk into a room and you do get feelings, don't you? That something's not right. So I suppose in a way, it does help in certain locations when you walk in a particular room and you think, yeah, this is one room I want to do some experiments in tonight, because it just feels different to the rest of the building.
I agree with you, and in regards to work, sometimes you can't help it. I find that it also works really well, because I truly believe, and I think Kerry agrees as well, I won't speak for her, but our bodies are an amazing tool, and that we can pick up on changes of environment and changes of energy, which can be a great indication about where to be able to whip out your gadgets, so to speak. So it is versatile, and how you can use it. It's quite interesting, actually, the different ways that energy can be used.
I agree with you, Kerry, about your body being one of the best tools and one of the most underused tools as well in the field.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an area that, again, it's unknown. I still think mediumship is worthy of being part of paranormal investigation. Things have been demonstrated by loads of mediums that at the time you just can't explain. So I think it's an area of that does need more investigation. Where is the information coming from? We've got no proof yet that ghosts or spirits exist. So are they getting it from ghosts or spirits, or is the information or the feelings, is it coming from somewhere else? That's what fascinates me, the whole aspect of it. So yeah, again, it's another interesting subject. Just fascinated by.
I bet you've come across some really a vast variety of mediums as well in all your investigations you've done, particularly when you've done the one location, quite a lot being the Woodchester Mansion.
Yes, yeah. Well, the beauty I've got with Woodchester Mansion now, I mean, I was up until 2006, I was investigating the building with my own group back then, Gloucestershire Paranormal Research Group. But in 2006, the mansion were looking for somebody who would invigilate all their ghost hunts, which I offered to do for them, and they accepted, and I've been there ever since. So I've worked with countless groups, many that don't even exist anymore. But yeah, I've been in the fortunate position where I've got to meet and work with lots and lots of different characters over the last few years. So it's been very interesting.
Do you find before, you've had like you say, a very privileged position actually, a lot more than other teams, where you've seen lots and lots of different people come in and work the same location.
Yes.
Where I'm going with this is the energy within each individual paranormal investigation team. I think it has a huge impact, the team itself, on a location. What do you think of that?
Do you know what? Yeah, you're right. It's the investigations do vary depending on the set of people you've got down there, and it also stems to the amount of energy, for want of a better word, that they put into it as well. It's like the old analogy: if you go into a pub and sit in the corner, really quiet, doing nothing, nobody's going to come and talk to you because you're not interested. But if you put your energy into it, it does appear that the buildings do respond and they get more activity. So I think you're right. It does depend on the makeup of the group.
Mm.
What I would find quite interesting, actually, sorry, I hope you don't mind me butting in, but what I would find quite interesting is actually how different groups interpret different types of evidence and how they perceive what is being presented to them. So if you have this one, resident ghost, for example, how many different types of ways has that presented itself, and how is that being interpreted by all the different groups? I would find that really fascinating from a research perspective.
Yeah, I think the problem we got with Woodchester Mansion, I always describe it with the Forrest Gump analogy. It's just like a box of chocolates; you never know what you're going to get. That is Woodchester Mansion. Over the years, yes, we have. You have got the main entities who will make themselves known, who we call out to, but it's just that the phenomena is so varied down there. You just don't know what you're going to experience. I've actually seen now 5 apparitions in the building since investigating the place. So it's not a common occurrence when you consider the amount of times I've spent in the building. To only see 5 relates. I was talking to Steve Parsons, the parapsychologist, and he's got a similar figure with the location that he's regularly investigating. We reckon to see an apparition, you need to be in the same building investigating 125 times to have that one chance to see something visual.
Oh,
so it's yeah. So it's quite a large figure, isn't it? I mean, you might be lucky and just go down there the once. That might be the night, but yeah, it does appear one in 125 times in the same location, and you will have a good chance of seeing something. But of course, that's just the apparition side of it. I mean, lots of other phenomena, electronic voice phenomena, voices that you catch on tape, stones being thrown, noises, doors slamming. There are lots of other things as well that go on.
What's the scariest thing you've had at Woodchester?
I was just about to ask
you. Great minds think alike, Kerry Ann.
The scariest thing, I mean, it did freak me out, and I didn't really pack it all in. I can only describe it. I sound like a loony, but I can only describe it as a possession. I was on the second floor, and it was one of those moments you just felt the atmosphere change. It was almost like something had come in. So there was a group of 7 of us up there. I just stepped towards the front of the group and said, "Okay, I know you're up here. Do something." And next thing I know, I'm actually stood watching myself, shouting at the group to get out in this rather strange voice coming out of my mouth. I did snap back in, and some of the group were laughing, thinking that I was messing around. But I said, "Come on, going back to the drawing room," and I was absolutely white. And they looked at me and said, "Crikey, you weren't messing around up there, were you?" And that was it. That was only 10 o'clock at night. I still had the rest of the night to get through. And I just could not rationalise what had happened to me. And yeah, nearly packed it all in. I'm glad I didn't, because I've had some fun.
Yeah. So how did you feel after you had that experience? How did you actually feel in yourself? Was you shaky? Was you ill? Did you physically feel, apart from being a bit freaked out?
The biggest sensation was almost like static electricity all around the middle of my body. This almost like a static charge, and then very, very drained. That was the feeling after the event. But very, very, I still can't rationalise it to this day. I mean, it can only go down as a personal experience. I can't prove it to anybody that happened. I think the people in the room would agree something did happen because I was white.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still can't explain it, and it's very, very, very odd. That's the scariest. That really did scare me.
And you wasn't working as a medium at that point. You were just in the room, stepping forward, trying to interact.
No, just interacting. It's yes, I'd done the mediumship course the previous year, but like I said, I never used that on locations. More so just the feelings. If you sort of feel an atmosphere change, which started it off. Like I said, I felt that the atmosphere had changed in the building.
Sorry, I have a dog, clearly. Kerry, and if you would like to take him for a minute while I calm him down.
No, that's fine. Yeah. See, one of the things that me and Kerry have often spoke about in regards to energy, because that's really something that we focus on in regards to investigations. Kerry is a crystal lady, and she does lots of ways of working with energy and crystals to manipulate energy and kind of like an amp, so to speak. And one aspect that we do really believe is that people can actually, of which we've already spoken about, can actually influence the energy of a building, but a building can also influence the impact of a person. It can have, and we've spoken about an example of both, haven't we? So with that being said, have you had any guests that have gone along that have had that, kind of experience there, or, has anyone come away feeling like they've had a more of a personal experience within the location?
Oh yeah, many times. I remember one girl who'd gone up to the second floor on a vigil. There was quite a lot of us up there that night, and she stood in this one area. She didn't know the building at all. It was her first ghost hunt, and all of a sudden she just started crying, and she was coming out with things like, "Don't take my baby." So we got her out of the room, and she was fine when she went outside. She couldn't explain what had happened to her. It was she just said she felt like somebody she had a child and somebody wanted to steal it from her, take it away from her. And she was in floods of tears up there. But she's absolutely fine after. Never experienced anything like that before. Her first ghost hunt, and she couldn't explain it.
Did it put her off for life?
I don't know. That's the only thing down at Woodchester. You don't get to see many of the guests. This was on a commercial event, so it was just one of the clients that they brought. Right. But yeah, lovely lady, quite rational person to talk to after, and she couldn't explain why she'd come out with that.
So I think that's the most frustrating thing when you are a rational and logical person, when you do have an experience with that you know, on a paranormal investigation, it does take you back because you do, you know, if it doesn't make sense and it isn't logical, so therefore there's no answer to it. And it does leave people quite, just bewildered a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. I think the biggest thing for me is obviously we were talking about mixtures of people in the building. I quite like it when you've got skeptics down there bordering on cynical towards it, who've been dragged along by their partners, not believing in it at all, and then something happens which changes their perception slightly. I think the biggest example of that, we had an investigation down there, and the building had been quiet. Like most buildings, you can't guarantee activity. You can go in, get nothing at all. The building can be very flat. And they'd had one of these nights. Nothing happened. The hosts were working hard to try and keep everybody entertained with no activity. We were all in the drawing room at the end of the evening, around 4 a.m. And the skeptics had the smug look on their face, a load of rubbish anyway. They're not surprised nothing happened. And we all heard footsteps coming from the dining room, which is there are two adjoining rooms to the drawing room where everybody was sat right at the end of the evening. We heard the footsteps coming up from the dining room, 2 rooms down, up through into the library. And just as they were approaching the drawing room, I ran through the one door and the host ran through the other, and we met round the corner. There was nobody coming through. We met each other. We all heard these footsteps, plain as day, yet nothing to show what was making them. And even the skeptics were like, wow. We all heard it. So that was quite satisfying. It's quite nice when something sort of catches you out just like that right at the last minute, and even they had to say, yes, that we cannot explain that.
It is strange when you do, when something does happen, because like you said, you know, we've talked about this before, where your rational brain is trying really hard. You're thinking water pipes, you're thinking every you know, was it a draft that knocked that door? You know, all the things that you've checked on your baseline tests before you begin an investigation, and then something happens, you're like, no, I know I checked that, and you double doubt yourself as to whether or not you did do that, and then it's a strange old thing, isn't it?
It is, but again, it just keeps you going. I mean, when you get something that blatant, I mean, they were almost like high heels. I mean, walking up, they're wooden floors, and you even get the acoustic echo in the room of the tap, 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 and it's getting louder, it's coming closer. I mean, this, our mice aren't that big in the building. It was loud, so you can't explain it. But again, it's just what keeps us going, isn't it? We just want after that proof.
Yeah.
That's true.
The thing is, what happens when we do get the final proof? That's where I'm with it. Like when we finally get the definitive proof that we've been looking for, what's next?
Well,
More
that's
proof.
it. I mean, will we ever get the definitive proof? I mean, that's. That event I've just described there. All it is personal experience to the 30 of us that were in the building that night.
Yeah.
Even if we recorded it, it would still only be personal proof because I think you've actually got to be there, haven't you, to know really what happened.
Yeah, and I think that is the sorry, my words are not coming out. The most frustrating thing about when you do get evidence and you want to show people and they go, yeah, but what about this? You're like, no, that wasn't there. Yeah, but how do I know it wasn't there? Because I'm telling you it wasn't. No, that's not good enough because I went there. I never experienced it, so I'm not going to accept it for what you're saying it is or what you perceive it to be. So it is very frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, for scientific proof, you need a methodology. But the problem with that, to put together a methodology that will satisfy science, you can't really do it because they want you to investigate something that's already happened, and the chances of that happening again for you to get the scientific proof for is slim to zero.
Yeah.
So I don't think
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't think we will prove it. So we just got to keep on with our personal experiences, and hopefully something we can catch to satisfy most people.
Yes.
Hopefully science will come up with a way of being able to cross the dimensions, I suppose, for want of a better word, and be able to record that in a way that is there. And then, God, imagine if they did, it would really throw it open, wouldn't it? Because you'd be able to talk to your loved ones, and you know, who knows where that would lead if they ever come across with something like that. But until that day, we'll all still be out there with our gadgets that we know.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we've got a long way to go before we get an app on our phone where we can dial passed away loved ones.
Exactly, yeah. Kerry Ann, sorry, what was you going to say?
Oh, I've lost my train of thought. No, in regards to the science, I think the problem we have is it's the pseudoscience, paranormal and parapsychology. Isn't taken seriously anyway within the scientific realm. It's going to take something really, really special for anything that is even remotely considered scientific to be taken as seriously as it should be, because there is lots of kind of things that have gone on with the paranormal that has been massive step forwards for us in regards to equipment and the way that we can actually measure and collect data, and we're able to then repeat those experiments and be able to gather similar kind of data from that. So we're getting there, but no matter how much we do, I mean, we're always going to have that shadow of doubt. That's the problem, because again, it's very subjective. But what is observed and what is able to be measured is dismissed anyway because of the realm of which it belongs into. So, but
yeah, that's a problem we've got, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But I mean, Kerry was telling me about the mansion. It's absolutely fantastic, and I've done a little bit of reading about it, and what I wanted to know is, the history of the paranormal there, and there's like layers and layers and layers of all these different type of apparitions that are meant to have been seen, or stories there. And I mean, what out of all the stories that are there, which one of those really kind of stays with you?
I think the biggest one is about the builder who fell to his death. We've got a name for him, James, he was called, and he's the one who's called the gaffer of the gaffer of the building. Basically, he's the main entity down there. Very, very, very strong in presence, and he'd be picked up all over the place. But it's his story. What, did he fall to his death, or was he pushed? That's the biggest one for me.
So generally, when you've had mediums in, what have they said? Have they given sort of like more of an answer on that?
Most of them say he was pushed and he's come back. That's why he's still there. He was murdered on site. He's still there. He's not happy, and it's his building now. Nobody else is around, so it's his building, and he doesn't want anyone else in there. That's what mediums will come up with.
Just curious, really, as to whether or not there've been like a definitive way, one way or the other. Because you've, like I said before, you've had quite a few different mediums in there working. Yeah,
I mean that's a general consensus that mediums do pick up on with him. He's an angry energy, and he just doesn't want people in there. So that's why he's always trying to get everybody out by scaring them away.
Yeah. Now, at Woodchester, you've had a lot of film companies come in, haven't you? Lots and lots of different types of filmings. What's your experience of filming at the mansion?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've worked with Ghost Hunters International. They came down and they had an interest in investigation. They spent 5 nights there, and I was basically dubbed as the building owner for that show. So it would be nice, wouldn't it, to work with Woodchester Mansion. But no, they were great, and again, very professional group. I mean, a lot of TV shows get flack that it's faked and everything's put on, but I actually worked with the guys again. They were a proper paranormal team. They set their kit up, monitored everything, went away, analysed analysed everything that they captured, and I did come back with some evidence. So yeah, very interesting. I was still in touch with Rob Demarest from that show, and he's always said he wants to come back to the mansion. So he was impressed with the building.
Well, it's completely fascinating. So the more I read about the Woodchester, the more interesting it was to me, to be fair. And I just think what a fortunate position you're in. And a lot of people don't like to do revisits, but actually I think revisits are really quite important when you're investigating, because you can build a picture up of the activity.
Yeah, it's you do need to spend a lot more than one night. A lot of people just come down on an investigation with a commercial company and just have the one night in the building. That's not enough to build up a picture to say, oh, this building's not haunted or this building's haunted. You've got to spend quite a lot of time in a building to try and discover its natural characteristics, because there's a lot of things that will occur down there if you're not used to it. You would put down to paranormal. Mm-hmm. We have got the back door, which does slam shut, and I do smile at a lot of teams who stand in the back corridor calling out for the spirit to come and shut the door for them, which it does quite often. A lot of the time that is caused by, there's a vacuum effect, because the mansion's built around a courtyard. You've got 4 corridors and a square courtyard. Under certain conditions, you get the air that will come down into the courtyard and through the broken windows, destabilising the pressure, so it will slam the door. However, last week, no, not last week, 2 weeks ago, we had a group in, and when these groups have a break, because of the door slamming and locking people out, we've got a huge wooden block that we prop the door open with on these particular times. And I was outside having a chat with one of their guests. We were talking about his experiences fishing at night on the lakes in the park. And we looked around and everybody had gone in. So I said, you better get back. You've got your next vigil. As we walked through the door, I looked down at the block and was about to kick it away to close the door. But before I did so, I said, are we the last ones? And he said, I don't know. I think there are some girls still in the toilets over the back. I stuck my head out the door. I could hear voices, so I said, well, we'll go on in. So I left the block up against the door, and we carried on into the building. As we turned down into the chapel corridor, the back door slammed. So we waited, and nobody entered. So we went back up, opened the door, and the girls were still walking across the car park. So in that few seconds of us turning to walk down the chapel corridor, something had moved the block out of the way, but there was nobody there to do it. So yes, well, you can come up with rational explanations for things, then you get these curveballs thrown at you. So you think, well, hang on a minute, the wind can't move that block. So
yeah, when you get something like that, you go, oh, I know there's no gust of wind that's that strong to have moved, because you know how heavy it is and you know how big it is and you know the positioning of it, and you go, no, see, logically again, no, I don't believe wood would have moved that, but you can't discount it either. It's like one of those, isn't it?
I mean, the chap I was with, he was absolutely blown away. He was a guest of the company in the building that night, and he was absolutely blown away. He just could. He said there is no rational explanation for that. I mean, the thing I did check, because where the block was, and if wind could have moved the block, as the door was opening, the block would have been pushed out into the corridor, but the block was to the side as if it had been slid away from the door. So that's why I've got no rational explanation for that. If it had moved outwards, then I could have thought, well, perhaps it was a huge gust. No, it had slid.
It did slide
parallel to where it had previously been propping the door open. So yeah, no explanation for that, but yeah, really cool. We enjoyed that one.
Yeah, those are the moments you sort of go, oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, Yeah.
No one got hurt. No one got really
No
scared.
Can't explain it. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, on that note, we're going to take a little break. And when we come back after the break, we're going to be talking about your new adventure with the new TV programme you've got, the Ghost Chasers programme. So bear with us 1 second, guys. We won't be long, and then you can get to hear all about this new exciting adventure.
You're listening to the Dark Nights Paranormal Show with your hosts, Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley, right here on Parasearch UK Radio.
Hello, this is Kerry Ann. Please join me every Thursday at 9 p.m. on 7th Sanctum, only on Parasearch UK Radio.
Hello, join me, Paul Rook, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. for the Trident Paranormal Show, with interviews, news and reviews from this galaxy and beyond, only on Parasearch UK Radio.
Welcome back. It is the Dark Nights Paranormal Show. I'm Kerry Greenaway, and I'm also joined by Kerry Ann, my co-host for this evening, and our lovely guest, Chris Howley. Now, before the break, we heard all about the Woodchester Mansion, that Chris is very, very lucky to be the chief paranormal investigator in situ, I think is the expression. And he's got a brand new show that is launched last Friday, wasn't it, Chris?
That's right. Yeah, March the 3rd. Ghost Chasers is the new show that's just hit the screens on Insight, which is channel 564 on Sky, I believe. Could
you get it anywhere else? Because I was trying to find that, because I haven't got Sky, so I was trying to find it. Can you get it anywhere else?
Yes, you can actually. I haven't got Sky either, which is unfortunate. So I can only watch them from the Insight.tv website. So if you go, if you just type Insight.tv, all their programs come up online, and you can watch them. If you just go to Ghost Chasers, as the show airs on Friday, the episode becomes unlocked on their screen. On the internet. So although there was an hour delay last week, because it's they're a Dutch company, they're an hour behind. So they unlocked it at 10 o'clock last week. So we were getting lots of messages. Why can't we unlock the show? It's still locked. So we've been assured they're going to resolve that this week. It will be unlocked at 9 o'clock when the show airs on channel 564.
Ah, brilliant. So how did that go? How did that come about is what I want to know. How did, because you're working with a really well-known medium called Ian Lawman.
Yeah.
And another gentleman that's quite well-known in the field, Paul Hobday.
Paul Hobday, yeah, very good friend of mine, Paul. We're both we've both got our own paranormal group together. So Paul set up Team Impact following his own TV show, the Paranormal Investigation Live that he did. Quite a few years ago now. That's when Team Impact, the name, came about. Paul took the group forward, and we both run that now. So Paul Hobday, very well known in the field. He's very, very scientific. He's studied parapsychology, and he's the rational one of the team. He will try his hardest to debunk anything, but on this show there were certain things that even Paul couldn't get his head around.
Fantastic.
So very interesting.
Because you've actually got quite a nice balance there then, haven't you? Because you've got obviously Ian, who's the medium of the group, and then you've got Paul, who's like Mr. Debunker, scientific head, and then you kind of sit between the two, don't you?
I do, yeah. I mean, I will look at the rational side. Myself and Paul have many conversations on the paranormal, and Ian I've known for years through Woodchester Mansion, and I completely understand where Ian's coming from and what he's doing. So the paranormal team was really well balanced for the show, and then we had Kai Nambiar, who was our Dutch presenter, who didn't really believe in it. He'd never been on a ghost hunt, didn't know what to expect. So it was our job to try and convince him of any paranormal activity that we could find.
So your first show, Ed, where was you on your first show?
Yeah, the first show last week we started in London. So we had 2 locations. There's 2 locations per episode, and the London one was the Ragged School, followed by the Woolwich Artillery. So, 2 great locations. But I think the Ragged School produced an amazing piece of evidence for us with electronic voice phenomena that we captured in an empty classroom. So I think that, there's clips of it up online now. So if anybody just wants to go and have a listen to the electronic voice phenomena, if they go to... It's on my paranormal page on Facebook, if I can plug that.
Yeah, of course you can. Please plug away.
Chris Howley, #paranormal investigator. If you go on there, there's a video box. You can just listen back just to that audio clip we captured. We can't explain it. It was an empty room. The voice has got an echo to it of the ambience of the room as well. Mm-hmm. And it was recorded with silence to both sides of the clip. We know nobody had gone into the room. The wooden floorboards, you could hear a pin drop. So if anybody had snuck up there to try and put false evidence down, we would have heard it. So we can't explain that one.
And look, because you've got such a small team as well, working with 3 investigators, 1 presenter, and then literally probably just a sound man and a cameraman, I believe.
Yeah, you've got the crew. It was a very small crew. We had 1 cameraman, 1 sound man, who did form part of the team because the camera chap Steve Robson was filming us in ultra 4K, so it's ultra high definition at 50 frames a second. I mean, it's the same resolution that Lord of the Rings trilogy was shot at. So that's just how high def this show's been filmed in. And our sound man Tim Boylan, I mean, we were all individually mic'd. So when we were catching voices or noises, Tim could help pinpoint where these were in the room relative to where we were each standing with our own personal microphones on. So they did form part of our team in the investigations as well. Then we had the director who was just making sure that we were running to schedule, and a data wrangler who basically everything being shot at that definition, each of the memory cards would only last for half an hour. So the camera would run 2, but they would need to be switched every hour. So we had a chap who would come get the camera cards and he'd sneak off into the back room, putting them onto hard drives. So that was basically it. A very small crew.
Which means you can sort of like discount the fact that there's another group in another room. You're all working really closely together to do these investigations for the programme, aren't you?
Well, on the investigations, we were all in the same room at any one time, and we know when we caught this EVP, that room was empty upstairs. We were down in the cellar. It was 3 stories below. So quite impressive, that one.
I'm sure I heard that one on YouTube. I'm sure that's been posted onto YouTube as well.
It has, yeah.
Yeah,
it
was like very interesting.
Yeah, we can't explain it, and Paul definitely tried.
You've got to love somebody on the team that's going, no, I'm going to debunk it, and then he goes, I can't actually debunk that. Yeah. I know where everybody was. I know.
We've got a poor bit like that on ours, haven't we?
Yeah, we do.
Everybody needs somebody like that, though. You've got to keep pulling yourself, because it is in the heat of the moment. It is easy to get carried away, isn't it? So when you've got somebody like that to pull you back in and think more rationally, when you do catch something, it's even more impressive.
Yeah, very true. Kerry Ann has been to the Ragged School. I've not been so fortunate yet. You quite liked the Ragged School, didn't you, Kerry?
Do you know what? I actually really did. And I've heard lots of different reviews of the Ragged School. I've had a lot of people come to me after they've been and said that they've actually had flat nights. And I hear that more often than not, but I really enjoyed it. I liked the style of the building. I liked the way that it was, how it was and how they made use of that space and how that was available to everyone. But every level felt like it had a different type of energy. So the most uncomfortable I was in the basement.
Yeah, it's very odd down there, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, that could be put down to lots of different things. It could just be the fact that you are very closed in. It is stale air down there as well. It isn't the most lightest room. There's no light in there whatsoever. So it is that, and there's lots of weird bits and pieces down there as well. As in, I think I come across a dole and a pushchair at one point.
That's right,
but
yeah.
In general, you could attribute the fact that it feels a bit strange in there, but out of all the places that we got evidence, we had evidence downstairs in the basement, which we will use in a sorry, I cannot pronounce it for the life of me. So I need teamwork here, guys. That's it. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. We got some pieces off of there, but we also got hits on the K2 as well. And then we had upstairs at the very top. The classroom. Sorry, because you have two classrooms upstairs, isn't it? You've got the one where they all sit down, the other one that looks a bit like an art room. Yes. In the art room, we kept getting a woman scream over the spirit box.
Ah, right.
Yes. So that was really strange. So I would love. We're trying our hardest at the moment to convince the station owner to be able to put together for us a Harry Price type investigation, which really strips it back to basic. And I would love to do it at the Ragged Skull, just because
that'd be a great location, wouldn't it?
Could you imagine, Chris?
Oh, it'd be fantastic. Yeah, you can count me and Paul in for that. We'll drag Ian along as well.
Wow. Now there's an offer on the table, Kerry.
Oh, well, we would definitely be taking you up on that. We really just want to strip it down to... I would love to... At first it was the Victorian, wasn't it? The Victorian type of investigations. But we do want to do like a Harry Price type of stripping it all down to base, see what we're able to get. So, yeah, definitely. We'll make this happen, Chris. And we'll bring you along as well.
And how can our station manager, Richard, argue now we've got a TV programme people wanting to do it with us? He can't argue it, can he?
Did you like the professional, the actual words being used there? TV people.
I know. My terminology.
Yeah.
So anyway, going forward with the programme, because that was literally just the first episode that aired. It had really, really great reviews. Everybody's loving the formatting of the show. As I say, I've not managed to catch it myself yet, but I'm really going to try because I really want to see it.
We've actually been blown away because you never know. We had fun doing it. I mean, for me and Paul, it was 20 paranormal investigations on the bank, so we couldn't turn it down. But you know what it's like when you film all this footage. You never know how much of it they're going to use to feature in the show, or what the show's actually going to come out like.
Yeah.
But to have the comments that that we're getting, I mean, our Twitter feeds they're still going mad today. It's people are saying how much they're enjoying the show, enjoying the fact it's not filmed in night vision. It's all, you can see everything. It's just filmed under natural torchlight. So you still get the atmosphere with the show, but it's you can see everything properly, which is a nice change. And like you've already said, the balance of the group, where you've got the medium right down to Paul, who's Mr. Skeptic, as Ian keeps calling him on the show. So they like the balance as well. So hopefully that continue as we carry through with the next episodes.
And not one of you are screamers and runawayers, are you?
No. Do you know what? That was that was our biggest downfall with the director. I think he initially he thought we should be acting more frightened, but it's like we said, look, you're not going to get those reactions from us. We've been doing it for too long. If something happens, we want to stay. That is until we got to Belgium. You'll have to wait till episode 5. We're in a town called Namur, investigating some underground tunnels. And you will see us running and screaming on that show.
Good. At least there's a little bit of that. At least you big burly men aren't immune to the fear factor.
That one episode, we were terrified. and we shot out of those tunnels screaming like kids. It was, but that's episode 5, so that's one to look forward to for you.
So what are some of the other locations that you're actually doing on the programme?
It was basically a road trip. So we started in the...
Oh, I think we've lost Chris.
Hello?
Ah, you're back. Sorry, carry on. I thought we'd lost you for a second there.
Oh, I'm still here.
Oh, good. Sorry, I thought we'd lost you. So sorry, carry on. Where have you been? Where have you gone? It was a road trip, you were saying.
It was a road trip. We started in the UK. We did London, then we moved down to Hastings, then across to Harwich, and then up to Cheltenham. So that was the four areas we investigated for the UK shows, and it was then off to Europe. So we went across to Belgium. So like I just said, show 5 is Namur with the tunnels, then up through the Ardennes, then into Germany. Heidelberg, and then back through to Belgium. So we actually finished up in Bruges, and we did some great castles up through the Rhine Valley as well. Castle Reichenstein is definitely one for paranormal investigators to go and investigate. It's an absolutely fantastic venue, and they've actually got a hotel on site at the castle, so you can go and stay there, and whilst you're there, you can go and investigate the castle.
It sounds amazing. It sounds like you've had an absolute blast while you've been doing this programme.
It was, it was amazing. I mean, for 4 blokes, 20 locations to investigate, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, this is true. So how long did it take you to do this? Did you do it literally in one sort of like road trip, or was it various trips at a time? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. We didn't do... It wasn't continuous. We did 2 weeks doing London and Hastings and Harwich. Then we had some time off. I think we had a week off. Then we filmed at Cheltenham. Then following another week, it was then I think 3 weeks we were out. We started the road trip around Europe. That was the most tiring, because that was coupled with the travelling and the investigations. They were virtually one after the other. I think it was only Reichenstein Castle where we had some downtime. They actually gave us a day off just to recharge.
I was going to say, how did you deal with the paranormal hangovers that most of us get after an investigation?
Well, do you know what? For myself and Paul, I think it was even harder because, bearing in mind we were investigating these locations late at night before getting back to the hotel, our job hadn't finished because we were then filming the next location. We then had to analyse everything that we'd set up. So our locked off cameras we placed round, our audio recordings, the photos we'd taken. We were then up analysing until 4 or 5 o'clock. So we were surviving on very little sleep on some of these. So we were really glad of that break at Reichenstein.
And lots of coffee, I would think.
Yes, awful lot of coffee. It was on tap throughout filming. I mean, we did get breaks during the day when, I mean, you go and film the location shots during the day. I mean, there would be downtime, so you could sort of have a power nap and just recharge. So it was not bad.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So out of all the locations you did, out of these 20 locations, which one would you say was your favourite?
My personal favourite was the tunnels at Namur. I do suffer a little bit from claustrophobia, so being underground did heighten my experience there. But the activity we got in those tunnels as well, I won't give too much away. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it was that was my favourite location. Close second would be Reichenstein Castle. That was purely for the venue. I mean, this is a 11th century German castle that is fully furnished.
Wow!
It was like we were intruding, going back in time and intruding in somebody's residence. That the whole place is fully furnished and it's stunning. I can't recommend the place enough.
Wow, it sounds fantastic. So was there any funny moments throughout your filming, apart from the screaming and the running away? Was there any really funny moments?
Yeah, we did have a laugh. We turned up at one castle and there were some jousting horses. So we put Tim on one with his microphone boom, and then we got a broom and Ian Lawman on the other one, and we were pushing them towards each other. So, we were actually having these jousting tournaments. It was quite comical. I think there will be some footage going up of that on some of the social media sites when that episode airs.
That's it. As the episode's there, you'll be able to start releasing like the downtakes or the outtakes of the show.
I mean, yeah. There's also Ian can be a bit of a prankster, and we were forever jumping out on each other during downtime. If we had some downtime, we'd go off walking around. We might radio through to one of the crew. Oh, come and have a look at this, what we found, and then we'd all be hiding and just waiting to jump out on them and try and film it as well. So that was quite good. We did have a laugh. You've got to, haven't you? You go mad otherwise.
Well, this is very, very true. Kerry Ann, are you still with me?
I am. I'm just listening tentatively. So,
did you have any questions on the locations or anything you'd like to ask Chris?
Well, I mean, I find that it reminds me of a conversation that we had about being able to do something that you really enjoy doing as a job. I mean, what a fantastic opportunity. And it sounds like you have an absolutely amazing time and such a strong bond between your team as well. And I'm definitely going to be having a watch of the series, because it just seems like, you guys together, not only you bringing a different type of paranormal kind of show compared to what's out there, but also brings this great kind of unity of four guys just going out and doing what they love to do. So I'm really looking forward to watching it. I'm actually going to watch the first one tonight, actually. I've decided. I'm doing it.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm going to tell Kerry all about it.
Well, I'm hoping I'm going to find it and actually be able to watch it myself, because I've been trying to. But because I didn't have Sky, I was like, oh, no, it's so frustrating. But now I know that you can get it on Insight on the internet. That's even better.
Yeah, definitely. Insight.tv, and all the programmes are on there. So episode 1 it is definitely unlocked. We've checked that. That's fine. So you can watch that one, and then episode 2 will be available Friday at 9 o'clock.
Oh, that's fantastic. You can't watch it Friday, though, because my show goes out on Friday, so you'll have to listen to my show and then watch it on Catch Up on Insight. Sorry to put that out there, guys.
I don't need to watch it. I was there, so I'll listen to the show.
That's true. Now, Chris, on a personal level, if there was any location anywhere in the entire world that you could go to and do an investigation, where would it be and why?
Oh, crikey! It's. I'm dying to get out to America. That's on my bucket list. There's so many locations out there. I'm interested in UFOs as well, the study of that. So Area 50. Ghost hunting. I'd love to do Alcatraz. I think that'd be a phenomenal place. Mm-hmm. That's the 2 areas on my bucket list.
That's true. Kerry Ann would like to go to America as well, wouldn't you? And do some investigating out there. I'm
literally shaking to try and restrain myself. Like, oh, I would love to go to America. To do investigating. I want to go to New Orleans. I want to go to Savannah. I want to go to all the Deep South. And oh my God. I watched, I back, going into that culture of paranormal TV shows, I'm more drawn to the American style ones than I am the UK ones, although I acknowledge the part that they've played in the past, but it's because of the types of locations that they go to that, it's just like a different type of investigation. I don't know. It's the lure of it. And
right. I think it's the same from their perspective. I mean, we want to go out there because of their locations, but they like our shows because we've got castles and they haven't. So I think it works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah. Do you remember the olden days? They used to do like a student exchange program, and the French would come over here for a week, and then the English kids would go over there. We need to do that with investigators.
Yes.
Investigating exchange.
You know what?
That'd be so funny.
I think magic just happened.
Yeah, you might have just stumbled on a great idea there. You ought to copyright that now.
Oh, yeah. I better copyright that.
You've just invented a new company.
I have.
The
Oh my
Ghost
God, how
Hunter
amazing would that
Exchange.
be? Quick,
Yeah, there you
Richard,
go.
get that copyrighted. Anyway, on that note, guys, we're coming to the end of the show. That went so quick.
Oh, brilliant.
No, thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Now, just remember, guys, this is Ghost Chasers. It's on Sky. Which channel, Chris?
It's on Sky Channel 564.
Thank you.
And also Insight, insight.tv website if you want to catch it on there.
That's right. And get out there, have a look at Chris Howley's website. It's chrishowley.com, www.chrishowley.com, and check out some of the interviews these guys have done, because honestly, I've seen quite a few different teams, and this little team, 3 guys out there, the balance is literally perfect. And give it a watch, because the reviews are absolutely amazing. So, Kerry Ann, thank you so much for joining me tonight and helping me with this.
No, thank you for having me. I've loved it. Thank you.
I know, it's been brilliant. Chris, hopefully later on, once your series is a bit further down the line, you'll be able to come back and talk to us again.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
That would be brilliant. Thank you so much. I hope everybody out there, thank you for joining us in the chat room. And, Tuesday night, I believe Paul Rook is back on with his show. Wednesdays, we have Teresa and Jay. Thursday is our very own Kerry Ann. And me and Mark are back in on Friday. Oh, as well as the Great Paranormal Debate on Friday. So, guys, tune in. Have a great week. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you. Bye.
You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.